everyone, welcome back to Forge of Champions. We are here in the third qualifying tournament, and we have ENCLAVE, who are 1 win up over MnM, and if they can take this win, it'll be a 2-0 for them, and they put themselves through to those semi-finals. Gentlemen, game was a little bit slower paced than our Hyperion Dabbler's games, but ENCLAVE were able to get themselves 2 Baron Nashers and just clinically close the game out.
Yeah, I mean, they were relatively controlled right up until the point they made that one misplay bot, but then they recovered that fine. I think it was just MnM knowing how to punish it as well. I wouldn't say disrespect, I would say just slightly overextending, not quite expecting how quickly MnM would turn it back around, but in the end, they went back to a bit of a slower game and then finished it out.
Yeah, I think that the draft from MnM, as I said before, was a bit of a problem for me, and I felt like once they got behind, they just didn't really have the protection. The only thing they could really do was drop the Kindred ult, hope the Rakan buys enough time, but I mean, the other side just became so strong, and Braum Lucian is such a powerful combo.
Yeah, I mean, they made it work. They picked the Rakan, then didn't pick the Xayah, and that just got banned away and taken off the board for them. So, are we expecting to see any changes in the picks and bans this game?
I mean, they're going to be on different sides, presumably, so I think a lot will change in that regard. I think that if you're going to pick Xayah or Rakan or something like that, I think secure the entire bot lane or ensure you get it in the first 3 picks.
Yeah.
I think it's actually probably going to be a completely different game plan, because if ENCLAVE are on red side, there's no real way to stop Rifty from getting a counter pick if he really wants it. So it might even be a faster game than that one, a more snowbally one where Rifty gets ahead. And
I think the thing I'll be looking at as well is they could do the classic lock Rakan first pick, and then you can pick up Xayah later, because Xayah won't be picked without the Rakan in most cases.
You would think.
In most cases.
You would think you would pick the Xayah up later. That's what you would theorize, but they decided not to in that last.
Yeah, but that time at least you have another pick with the Xayah to at least open it up a bit more, because you kind of locked in. We expected to have locked themselves into the Xayah. They decide, okay, we're going to try flip that on its head.
Like, the Mundo thing was a good idea,
great. Yeah.
But I just think there was no point to prioritize the Kindred that much.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like Kindred hasn't had that much success. Yes, the champion's strong. Yes, if you get ahead, it's great. But if you don't, it can seem a bit non-impactful. If it's behind, it doesn't offer as much as... Even damage champions, they can still build damage, but Kindred without the stacks is a lot weaker. And then damage champions in general, they're not going to offer as much as, say, a Gragas when he's behind.
I kind of get the thinking, though. They know Monk prefers tankier champions, which is where Kindred excels generally. But when the Talia's already been locked, you're not 100% sure it's not being flexed as well. It was a very dangerous pickup that also didn't end up paying off.
Yeah, and the Gragas works really well into it as well, because you have the early CC, you have a surprising amount of damage because you went the Electrocute and you picked up the AP item early, and also your ultimate just completely counters the Lamb's
respite.
Yeah, I mean, it was a good showing from ENCLAVE. I would like to see a more snappy win from them if they're going to take this win, and I want to see if MnM can take this win. They definitely showed that actually team fighting they're pretty good at.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of a given with this team. They've always been quite like that. But I'm kind of hoping that we do just see MnM, if they want to take the win, they need to be more proactive. They need to pull the trigger. And ENCLAVE, if they win, I don't want to see them sit on their laurels, because that's exactly what Diabolus lost to versus Hyperion in the last game. So we'll have to see. We have loaded through into picks and bans as Camille and Nidalee have been banned away so far.
Yeah, so ENCLAVE on the red side, which means big thing about red side is the powerful things. You can get the double pick, so if you want to take the Xayah early or the Lucian Braum. The other factor on top of that is you can direct where you want your counter pick. You can do what MnM did last time. You could pick a top laner or a mid laner, and then you can ban away counters, or just by leaving the pick until the very last pick, you can always ensure that if you want a counter pick, you can get at least one.
That's really nice. Because MnM decided they don't want to pick Aatrox, that leaves ENCLAVE effectively with an extra ban there, and they can use that to take away the Morgana, because of course when you leave Morgana up, you can always go for the Swain first pick and try to pick it up, or go with the Morgana first pick and try to pick up Swain a little later on.
Absolutely. Will be interesting to see if Talia gets left open again. I mean, one of the issues I feel like with ENCLAVE is we said Monkeys isn't as willing to play it, so it's not as great as a flex. Then they take away the Lucian. Interesting situation for ENCLAVE, because Xayah's still available, which they could take on their rotation. Talia's still available. Well, they'll ban it away. So I guess options are there's the Swain, there's the Rakan if you want to try and secure that lane.
Maybe even pick up the Braum.
Yeah.
Try to deny that, but then you of course give away the Xayah Rakan. Do you want to play into that?
Tricky
questions
situation.
for MnM, yeah.
It's quite a lot open for both of these teams here, and one pick we did forget about and has been left open is this Zoe.
Generally it's not first picked, but it does get high priority. I guess MnM decided it was banned last game with... Yeah.
No
Oh, this
Yeah.
is so. This is gonna be a good
That's
mid
great.
lane now.
No
All right.
surprise
Oh,
there.
they got Alistair as well. They just need a mouth fight, and they
I
might
mean,
as well just go all back Yasuo.
These are signature champions for these players. I remember several splits ago when Hado actually won the Premiership. It wasn't Alistair meta. He picked it in the finals and actually managed to come out ahead of that series. It's something that he's very happy to carry. And again, great synergy with Yasuo and Eren. He is someone who is very willing to play this champion. It's strong at the moment, does great into Zoe. It's going to be a volatile mid lane.
But they do give over the Rakan Xayah bot lane, so a very powerful bot lane has been picked up. And what do you think Enclave are going to be looking to answer out here? What are they going to be giving Bendy alongside this Alistair?
I was going to say you do have the option, as we talked about before, where you just lock in a top laner there
Yeah,
and try to deny.
I think there's no need to, because you've already got the mid lane matchup. You can leave top lane to last.
Yep.
There's no massive pressure to do that. They decide to pick a
You
jungler.
want to give Rift the counter pick.
Yeah, they pick a jungler, they ban away counters. In this situation, I actually think Kindred could have been really good because there is so much engage. The Lama's Rest site could really stop that from happening. Not going to be the case anymore. Question is, what will they ban on top of that? The options are things like the Trundle or the Gragas. Both offer some good utility against the Sejuani.
Of course, even just looking at the basic 1v1, Kindred was generally the pick to go to against some of these less mobile tanks.
Yeah.
Pretty much every tank but Gragas.
Yeah.
So, get rid of that. Maybe take away Trundle as well here,
Yeah.
just in case.
Do you
I
see
feel like this is the Trundle ban.
Yeah.
I mean, there's also something like a Graves if you just want to give a fast clearing over to Hades.
I mean, Sejuani was picked into Graves previously just because you could force more plays early.
They do ban the
But
Great. I
they-
think it's an interesting decision because I feel like it would have made MnM's comp very squishy. I feel like they have so much damage on the back of that composition. I would want a tanky jungler if I can get my hands on it. They do end up banning away the Swain. It makes a lot of sense because if you have that Yasuo in the mid lane, which we very much presume it's going to be, then you want some AP from somewhere else on the map, and Swain is one of those great bot lane picks you can bring out. Will be interesting to see.
Could go
what they
Vlad.
do. Could do. I feel like it might be a bit risky into the Zyra Khan. Remains to be seen.
I mean, a lot of things are risky into Zyra Khan. It is a very strong 2v2. And they end up leading towards that Vlad.
Guess you're right. Guess
Yeah.
you're correct. Yeah, I mean, I guess once you get past that level 1 point, you will have your pool available, so you can sort of avoid the Rakan's engage. Bit of safety in that regard, and again, leaves the potential for Rift to take the counter pick against what MnM offers. I feel like Igloo probably just going to go for a safe tank in this situation.
Yep. Could even just go for the Mundo again. The issue there, I mean, I was going to say the issue there is you could go for the Darius, but with that being banned away, there's not any hard counters.
I think Nod is pretty well.
Yeah.
I think if you pick up the Gnar, you build the heavy DPS build, you can actually punish the Mundo pretty significantly.
Yeah. I mean, I agree, but I'm not sure if it's nearly as hard a counter as something like the Darius, of course, which you can just run at them at any point in the game.
Maybe
But
not. I think the Poppy makes a lot of sense, though. It's
Yeah.
a lot less risky. There
so.
are things that can... I mean, to be honest, I say that. There aren't things that can punish the Poppy that hard, I feel.
Gnar, I think, is still good into Poppy as
It's
well, if you
good
want to go for
into
that.
it, but I don't think it punishes as,
No.
you know. I
No,
think the
not
Mundo
really.
is more vulnerable to being counterpinked. I think the Poppy makes a lot of sense here, but
Still
the Gnar
expect
would
the
make
Gnar.
sense. Yeah, would make a big sense. And so much synergy. If you look at the composition from Enclave, that is a wombo comp if I've ever seen one. So much synergy between that. If you manage to land a big AoE,
Ooh.
I mean, that doesn't change it.
Adds to the wombo, yeah, massively.
Adds to the wombo, and again, you can get right in the face of that Poppy and burn her down.
It also means that if your Zyra Khan ends up being camped, you don't have no AP damage for team fights.
Yeah, absolutely. And it means you can... I mean, the Vlad's going to be looking for backline access. The Rumble can afford just to melt the tanks. Interesting to see that Bendy is hovering teleport at the moment. Did see him move away from that sense of nerves, and a lot of Vlads in the bot lane did go towards things like Ghost, or potentially, I guess you could go and Exhaust. You know, if you wanted to go the teleport for the safety in lane.
I think they're recognizing that he's probably going to get shoved and pushed out of lane quite early, so he can base, get those early items if he needs, and then teleport back in. Obviously, TP did have a nerf on this patch, so it's not quite as strong, not quite as potent as it has been.
I think it's fine not to take combat summoners, knowing that you don't want to fight in the first place.
Yeah, it does mean his team fight will be a bit weaker late game, but I think Enclave's team fight is so good already.
But it gives him
Not gonna be a
good
problem.
map pressure later game as well, because obviously he can then go down to the side lanes while the rest of the team siege somewhere else, and he can always be a teleport threat. So
And yet,
you
to
play
be
around the
honest,
fact you have two teleports,
when
you
it
have
gets
so much pressure.
when it gets super late game, I would argue the Vladimir has a better matchup than the Poppy than the Rumble has. You can just out-sustain any damage she does, and you could potentially just shove her in. And I mean, if you chunk her out, she might be in a bit of trouble. Whereas the Rumble, against these tanks in the late game, it's not quite as easy to be able to shove. You're a lot more vulnerable to be picked off.
Basically, since Adaptive Helm exists, Rumble doesn't as easily take care of tanks later on.
Yeah.
However, he still has a pretty good matchup into them. Should be fine if they want to do that as well. Could even go with a 1-3-1 if they need to, but you're better off. You have the massive team fight.
I think the only problem with the Rumble in the side lane would be that, you know, if you get trapped in the tower, you are melee range. I think the Vlad has an easy time, but again, I don't think it's much if you said it yourself, they're going to look for team fights. I think that's going to be the primary focus of their composition. There's a lot of pick on the side of MnM Gaming, a lot of single target damage they can put down. If Rakan lands a combo, if Zoe lands the bubble, and the Trundle on top of that means even if it's the Sejuani, potential to take them down, but in a 5v5, Enclave's comp's favored.
Yeah, that's one of the things I do like about the Trundle pickup and why I was expecting it banned over the Graves. It does really well into Sedge, and on top of that, it actually does well into Alistair as well, because he does get the damage reduction. However, he loses all of the stats, and there's so many options for Trundle to ult in the center of a fight, knowing Alistair will pretty much always be in range if they're fighting correctly. Yeah. It should be easy for him to make sure he's extremely tanky and annoying to deal with.
I think as well, the pillar, a big thing here is it's so effective against Rumble, as an example, and a mobile top laner, you can actually pin him against that as the Poppy. But on top of that, if Yasuo has no minions to dash to, a lot of these champions can really struggle against that. I feel like the pillar is a very hit or miss ability in the fact that some champions it is excellent against, some champions it doesn't really have that much of an impact. For example, Ezreal, not much of an impact, but I feel like a lot of the ones on Enclave side, you're going to struggle. If Alistair goes in, hard to get out. Vladimir can pull but can't get through the pillar.
Now, Orcs, you predicted this would be a 2-1 series, and Celtic, you said 2-0. Are there any changes into your picks here?
I never changed my picks. Nah, I think it's looking like Enclave could take this 2-0, but I'm not going to back out of my pick. I'm
going to double down on mine because I do think Enclave have the stronger team fight. They have an even easier win condition to execute on, and they executed on their last one quite well. I don't see why they wouldn't be able to take it this time, but it'll all be on MnM's early game. Yeah. Can they use this Trundle effectively to try to punish people early on, and can they try to maybe snowball that forward?
And Dan has actually guessed right once they were Hyperion, although you did say it was going to be a 2-1 to them, so you're not completely right, but at least you guessed right on one side. Yep. You need to get yourself those 2-0 to get yourself those bonus 2 points. That's how it works. You get a point per... If you guess right, you also get a point if you guess if you guess the series score right.
We're making up the rules as we go along. Don't worry about it.
Fine. Yep, I'm fine with that.
They're written down
I think I will say for this game, though, I much prefer the draft coming out from MnM. I think, yes, they lost the first game, but they had some life. And although I'm not saying Enclave have a bad draft by any means, I like their draft in this game. I think MnM has more potential in this game to challenge them.
Certainly more than they did last game.
Yeah, well, you'll have to let us know using that hashtag #ForgeChampions3 who you are backing in this game. Will it be Enclave or will it be MnM? So do hit us up. Any spicy meatball tweets you put in there as well, we will try and feature on the show a little bit later, so make sure you do hit us up. I saw a couple of people tweeting about my
drawings.
My drawings. Yeah. I promise you.
I don't think you can call it an Orn. I think you can call it a drawing.
It's an Orn. Look at him.
Look at that owl thing.
He's got horns and a horn.
Yeah.
Didn't even realize what I did there, but I did it. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I mean, if you guys want, that's on Twitter as well. Give it a look. You can look just as confused as Dan and I did, and still do, to be honest.
Yeah. You guessed the other ones, though. You guessed what they were.
Yeah, they were actually very good. Yeah.
The Nidalee and the Lux. I can't believe you got the Lux.
But you actually said it was Rengar. You hadn't decided whether it was Nidalee or Rengar.
No, it was Rengar. Sorry.
Okay.
Yeah.
So wait, now you're messing with us as well.
You couldn't even guess your own drawings.
It was the knife cat because he had a knife in his hand.
I mean, you could, from a different angle, you could have said that was a spear. I don't know.
That was a small spear, that was.
I mean, your drawings have enough questionable sizing issues. I feel like that's definitely up there.
That's a big boy. That's a big old Orn.
I mean, he is thick. I'll give him that.
Yeah.
That part you at least got down.
I should have given him some biceps because Orn's actually quite shredded.
Yeah, no, it's from hitting on that anvil all day. That'll build
you. You've got 2 hammers to do that with as well.
Yeah, which just seems inefficient. You have to hold it steady.
You don't need to hold it steady when you're the Forge God.
I guess.
I was trying to think of how I was going to work that into Forge of Champions, but it didn't happen.
Yep.
No, you're all thinking. I'm not even going to try. Yeah.
Hopefully we get into game nice and quick.
Yeah.
We're falling into that trap we fell in just before this, where we were bullying Orcs. And
I don't think we haven't. We've just been having a nice chat now.
Banter. Yeah, the teams are having better banter. We're like really on the nose. The teams are being kind of subtle about it.
Yeah, we're just mean.
Subtlety's good.
Is it? I like just straight up saying, you know,
that's because you're not smart enough to come up with something subtle.
Right, but
That's not subtle.
He's the
That's not
he's
subtle.
the play-by-play though. You know, how
Yeah.
can you say that from that point of view? All you do is get loud.
Wait. Did you finish uni?
I'm still at uni.
Yeah, but see, I haven't finished uni.
Okay, what did you study at uni?
That's rude.
What did you study at uni?
I studied contemporary music.
Right, okay. I'd like to ask Twitch chat. I'm studying economics. What are your thoughts between those 2 degrees?
I mean, I'm just gonna say I finished mechanical engineering, so
Yeah,
just,
you actually were the
just
smartest here. We're ready for us to summon Drift for our second game of this series and fourth of the day. Enclave looking to go 2-0 in this series versus MnM.
And MnM looking to go 2-1.
Yeah.
Yeah, ideally.
That's an ideal world for MnM right now.
They're skipping a bit ahead though. Gotta at least turn it into 1-1 first. So see if they can get this game. As we said, their draft is a lot better than game 1.
Look at Bendy. He actually bought boots because he's got Predator and 4 potions.
I think a big thing as well with boots is Boots Rush is so good against Rakan because the more movement speed you have, the better you're able to move out of his grand entrance. Because it's very telegraphed. And I know that feeling if you are too slow, you just get bogged down in it.
Even
Like
more
on the literally the edge of the knock-up.
So frustrating.
on top of that, you can even try dodge out some of the Xayah feathers as well, because the combo coming through with the 2 of them can be massive issue.
Yeah, absolutely. Do you see? We'll be healing Knight coming out from Joker's Mana. Has gone for the press the attack. So one of that early pressure. Airy from Shogun as well. Again, these aren't abnormal rune choices, but there are other options, and they're going for a more early game focus.
I think looking at something slightly less common, or not less common, slightly worth talking about at the very least, the Zoe with Electrocute is generally very lane focused. Outside of it, you generally see them lean towards Airy.
Yeah,
But it does mean you have massive amounts of burst. It can be super nice for getting those picks off.
I genuinely feel like the Electrocute just does so much damage in the late game. I think it scales better than Airy does. And it just means that if you do manage to land Sleepy Trouble Bubble into the Paddle Star, into the auto attack, you can pop them.
It also means you have access to everyone's favorite outplay, where
The
you just
W,
ignite
yeah.
them, and the W procs ignite the Electrocute for you.
Yeah, why
You
do
miss your E and your Q, and you just run around with the W one.
And then you ult at them and let the rest of the W procs follow them.
Then you spam the
So
Mastery 7 emote and type Outplayed in all chat.
Yeah.
I love Zoe. She's
Actually,
so
I
fun
found
to
that when you're playing Zoe, the enemy tends to type Outplayed for you, so you don't even have to.
Yeah,
They make it even easier.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, unexpected, we see MnM getting a shove in bot lane. One of the issues is that Vlad doesn't have much shoving power in the early game, and Alistair basically isn't a champion at level 1.
Yeah, I think they're gonna go back to what Enclave were known for and try to refocus around the top side here. And with that Rumble pick, it's a pretty good one to pressure if you can make it work.
Yeah, I mean, we've seen a bit of a resurgence in the Rumble just because the prevalence in these early game skirmishes. It does have the shove in top lane and then can walk down and help with scuttle crabs. And then if he does TP into fights, that equalizer can be devastating. Did get a numbers buffed slightly as well. Does scale better on top of just doing a lot of damage.
Oh, it can absolutely shred people as the game goes on. And the lane, again, as we were saying, quite good into tanks. You can just slowly tear them apart, get a Leandries as early on as you can afford to effectively, and really start punishing that Poppy pick.
I think that's the thing, is that I feel like the itemization with the new AP items does benefit Rumble quite a bit more. He has the option of the Morale-Nomicon, he has the option of the Leandries, which works so well for
is
tanks.
very good on him.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so good into tanks. I mean, it's just good generally, but the true damage burn, because obviously before is you wanted the Leandries, but you know, you had the flat penetration, which is good in the squishies, you had the percentage HP, which is good in the tanks. Now we can really pick who he wants to be effective against.
I've seen typically you go Leandries and Morello on him now. That is typically the build, and then you obviously still the Sorkstus and the Void Staff like you normally build.
Yeah, and then
One of the nice
Zhonya's is a
things-
great item as well.
One
You
of the
just
nice
pick the
things,
Zhonya's up a little later is normally...
you're a consistent damage dealer that doesn't require mana, so your build does get to change in the early game, and it tends to benefit you pretty heavily.
Something interesting to see is that he hasn't gone for the stopwatch in the runes. So it'll be a question if he decides to pick that up early on, just for a team fight.
Taking a very big trade as we actually are seeing the headbutt pulverize that's gone through. Stun will connect. Bendy chunks a lot of damage out, but it ignites down, and Hado falls for first blood. Shogun picks it up now. Bendy, forced to run away, does have that flash still available to him, and looks like he's going to have to use the blood pool. Holds onto the flash as Jokerism tanks a couple of tower shots, able to make his way out.
It's a good start and play, I'd say.
Yeah, I mean, I want to talk about it over the replay here, because there was a really weird start to that. It was a really weird time to engage in the first place, because look at it here. All the minions that he engaged behind means that Bendy can't charge his E, because there's everything in the way of it. So by the time he gets around, Hado just already chunked out.
He had no empowered Q as well. It just seemed a bit forced.
Yeah.
Well, Bendy at least was able to make it out with a sliver of health. So we're going back in, and it looks like plays are being made onto Vrao. No knockups, the stuns are there. Vrao's going down, and Monkeys able to take away that kill.
Yeah, and I mean, as expected from MnM, their strength is in their bot lane. They're starting to show that now. On the other side, ENCLAVE punishing towards the top and mid side, their solo lanes, and having pretty good showings there. So
Igloo
far, at the
just
very
getting
least.
cooked.
Absolutely, and that's going to force Igloo back. That's I mean, I love Rumble for that, but I really want to talk about this mid lane as well, where Aaron has had a really nice pick into the Zoe with the Yasuo, something he's extremely comfortable on, and it's already showing how punishing that can be.
Yeah, now he's hit level 6 as well. His flash being down does mean he can at least close the gap onto the Zoe. Zoe just has a lot of pseudo mobility. It's not real. It's, you know, the portal jump sends you back to
None
where
of
you
it's real, man.
It's
all
all a
fake.
lie. And then she's reliant on having flashes, but she's not going to be able to get a flash from Aaron because he's already used his. So the only way that we're going to see Vrao actually pick a flash up in this game is if he steals it off Monkeys. I expect to see another gank happen mid. They want to get this Yasuo snowballing. They want to slow down Vrao on the Zoe, because if Zoe doesn't actually get fed in lane, she's still pretty strong. But it's slightly slower. It's not quite as strong.
Most importantly, I think Yasuo does want to come out as much as possible ahead in lane, because once you hit those spikes on Yasuo, you really start tearing apart the team fights.
For now, Monkeys hanging around this top side. Probably won't really need to help Rift too much on that Rumble. He's doing a pretty decent job of keeping himself relevant. Got himself a small CS lead over Rift. Rift is actually catching a wave currently.
You actually
So should equalize up.
You actually see the Oblivion Orb picked up here as well.
Morella Nomicon.
Immediately, you do get more benefit from the Oblivion Orb than something like the Haunting Guys or Liandry's, just because there's less MR in the early game. So, could sit in the Oblivion Orb and wait and build straight into Liandry's now. It's more likely you finish the Morellos just because the jump in AP for 1500 gold is huge, on top of the fact you reduce any potential healing coming in, especially from someone who's building Corrupting Pot.
Yeah, especially considering you've also got Hades as well. That'll reduce the effectiveness of Subjugate, at least on the healing side of it. Still won't do anything about the stats being stolen away, but what can you do?
You can't get it all.
Bendy closing in on this level 6 Marcus Jokerism should hit Featherstorm, and level 6 is a scary place to be, but it looks like lots of players are coming down. That's going to be the ultimate on. Hepa pulverized into the last breath. Aaron finds himself the kill on ENCLAVE. Recognize their strengths there.
Yeah, you have a leading mid lane, and your bot lane started to fall behind. It doesn't matter if you just 4v2 them real quick. Almost a 4v3. Too slow, though, from Hades. And huge amount of damage coming down so quickly from ENCLAVE.
That Mountain Drake should get picked up unless we see shenanigans come down. Shogun hanging about, does have that quickness. Not available to him yet, actually. Just throws the Q down now. Bendy could get turned on. Doesn't actually have the ultimate. It's ignited. Blood Pool flash down. The pillar not in the right position. And Bendy makes it out with, like, how much HP?
The bite's coming through. There it is. Ah, that's all it is.
How much HP has Bendy got? The Vladimir.
I mean,
oh,
it's not much, whatever it was.
Like, I'm going to guess like 40 HP.
I don't know. Every time I guess HP, it's a difficult one. There's Vrao getting a good trade.
That's the electrocute outplay.
Yep. Shield helping out a little bit there. Just picked up an exhaust there, Vrao, which is always a hard one to trade into. So Aaron just tries as much as possible to just not trade into it.
Well, Bendy does now have that Hemoplague, so diving him can be a little bit hard. Doesn't have Predator available quite yet, though. It looks like they're not going to attempt any shenanigans underneath the tower, just looking to pressure it. Meanwhile, Rift done roughly the same amount of damage to his topside turret, so who gets first turret blood is still very open to both of these teams.
What MnM could do now is try to force something around the bot side. They know that a lot was just used there. Monkeys used the flash down there, and if they get more numbers, they have the Zyrakan. They definitely have some dive potential, but part of what I liked about ENCLAVE is diving Vladimir is difficult because of the pool, and diving Alistair is so difficult because of the damage reduction. Both of them put together. Maybe MnM just don't feel confident enough to try force a play like that.
Monkeys once again spending time with his favourite Yasuo. Wants to make sure Aaron gets nice and fed. Got himself the Zeal, a dagger. Attack speed boots building towards that PD. Question is, are we going to see him go straight into that Infinity Edge, go for the big burst, snowball quick, or is he going to go for the Sterix, a bit more defensive, and then maybe less greedy style?
I say go full greed with the kind of comp you're running. Team fight's actually insane. You might as well go Infinity Edge and just start tearing people apart as quickly as possible. And I also like Infinity Edge if they're team fighting at that stage, because you have to deal with Poppy and Trundle. But okay, here's a team fight instead.
Well, just going to be the equalizer, followed up by a pillar. Hades disengages for Vrau. And Shogun's gone over the wall, but needs to be careful because there's a headbutt pulverize on Hado. Going to be followed up, but gifts him to Jokerism.
That's my ward.
That's the most heart-wrenching thing about playing Zoe into Yasuo. You land the bubble, and he just windmills.
Yep. Smart play, but also kind of why they picked this. This
is
why
it
we were
smart
saying
play, or is it just playing Yasuo?
It could be both. I mean, we're setting the bar relatively low on smart, I guess, but yes. Yes, like
I mean, I guess we do have Orcs on the desk, and he can't defend himself right now.
That's why you're going for him now? I guess you go for him when he
can't
can't do, but
lots
okay.
of action breaking out all across the board, but Rift actually looks to have disengaged away from Igloo. Bot lane also managed to make themselves disengage out, and lots of attempted plays.
Yeah, this game's actually, for an early game that no one's really dying in, it's been very tense.
Oh man, that was smart play by Aaron.
Let's, you know, I think we have to refocus and look at this as you still have a lot of pressure coming down towards this bot side. Now it's more so.
Shogun just jumps out with the E, Bendy. Takes a lot of
the
damage on the
attack.
tail end though from Jokerism. It is always the scary thing, but the Predator's down. Just the transfusion.
He looked like he was going for it so heavily.
We both got so hyped. Aaron gets knocked up into the last breath, into the ultimate down, and Aaron gonna have another kill stolen away from the pillar. Forces this flash out as he is ignited. Subjugate is on as well, starting to tear through him, and now Monkeys will disengage out, and Aaron gets out with his life.
Not quite enough in the early game to take people out with that subjugate damage, but it's still MnM with all the pressure towards this bot tower. ENCLAVE need to respond sooner rather than later, or they're going to lose first tower blood over to this Xayah.
Yeah, they do need to send a couple of people down, but they just used both Aaron and Monkeys' ultimates, so the only person who can really help them at this point is Rift, but he's quite content just split pushing away. This turret very, very low, and taking Qs like that also makes it quite hard to actually stick these trades.
Yeah, you can see Hado now trying to position forward, knowing that they want to put down as little, or take as little tower damage as possible. With Rift potentially overextended here.
Oh, maybe Hades, actually, he's getting toasted down! Rift finds one! Vrau's coming through, looking for that Sleepy Trouble bubble, but hasn't quite connected it yet. Rift forced to flash out. Harpoon goes in, and that will be Rift.
He may be outnumbered, but he still has the outplay available. The huge amount of damage coming down. And that's why Rumble's good into tanks, ladies and gentlemen, but can he do another 1v2 here?
I don't think he can. Puts the shield on. He's under the tumble, and Vrau puts him to sleep.
Electrocuted down at the end there. That's unfortunate, but I mean, can't complain too much. It was almost a 1v3 there, and he lasted a long old time. Gave Aaron a lot of time to push, and now potentially ENCLAVE a chance to salvage some of their bot lane here.
Yeah, did actually get to push out that wave. We also saw Aaron get a fair amount of damage down onto that mid lane turret as well, as he has now got himself that Phantom Dancer. This is when we get to find out if he goes the fun Yasuo build or the boring, safe Yasuo build.
Boring, safe, probably slightly more common Yasuo build with the Sterix.
That's why it's boring.
Yeah.
But we actually could see first turret blood going down here, as they've sent a couple of members. Predator's been popped by Bendy as well, so this will be first turret blood going over to ENCLAVE. Being a bit of a race, yep. Bot lane will go down shortly for the side of MnM, so at least they will equalize out the turret score.
That's not what you want, though. You picked this Xayah Khan to win lane. You had the stronger 2v2. You were winning the lane. ENCLAVE just played the map better, though, and quickly forced the first tower they can get before they lose what was almost certainly going down one way or another.
And a Mountain Drake spawning out. Hado actually is
4v2.
there. Jokerism does have the Feather Storm, but his mana's quite low. Teleports are coming down. Looks like the fight's going in. Jokerism forced to flash out, trying to buy some time. Shogun comes in. A massive knock up into the quickness. They're chasing for more. They're looking for the big knock up. Aaron misses the first one. Watch the pulverize by Hado. That's going to be the big play. One also gets picked up. It's going to be a 1-for-1 trade for the moment, but the Hemo play gone. Bendy goes pop onto Jokerism. Bubble does connect, and they're looking for the chase. Aaron very, very low, but he's still managed to find himself a kill as Igloo comes in. Knock up connects. It's a double kill. They're putting it damage out. Aaron is still alive. He gets shut down by Igloo.
Lasted so long, and this fight's still going.
He's got the flash. He's got another flash. Hado goes golden. The Drowsy's on the Vladimir. He's going to be able to stay alive as the paddle starts tanked up by Hado, but he is exceptionally low. And there's a Zonya's Hourglass to Viral. Bendy's trying to run away. The portal jump comes, but the bomb into the wall. And that will be Bendy going into the blood pool. Igloo is able to take down the kill. Extended trade goes in favor of MnM.
And MnM really needed to start winning out these trades. It was ENCLAVE who had the map control, but a much quicker response from MnM to that play meant that they were able to turn it around. So let's have a look at the replay. I mean, you can see here, it's a massive flank. You have Monkeys on the side, and you have the rest of ENCLAVE following up. However, a really quick TP and smart play from Zyrakan means that their engage takes so long that they're now pincered by the Poppy.
I mean, Shogun's play on the Rakan throughout this entire series has actually been very impressive. He's constantly, consistently landing big engages, big quicknesses and knockups, and he's been making these fights look good for MnM. This time, they even are able to come out on top.
Yeah,
and Varal's just such a nuisance.
Yeah, I mean, he picked up so many summoners at this point and so many items. He picks up the Zonyas here at the end, just in case he's in any danger. They just start chasing people down now at this point. Bendy heals up, but it just doesn't matter. Igloo managed to get the E in, and then Varel just follows him around.
Igloo managed to get 2 kills. That's a pretty good lead for him. Got that adaptive helm now, so he should be able to at least deal a little bit with Rift, who actually is building into that Leandri's Torment. Has got himself the Haunting Guys and that Blasting one, so for the moment actually wants to go into that burn, as Rifthold was started up by the side of MnM, but it looks like ENCLAVE aren't going to be able to get the better hand on this.
Yeah, right now it is ENCLAVE who have control, and I think they should be able to get this, but MnM not willing to give it up.
Remember, Shogun does have
quickness. It is going to be the engage before they can get it, and it's going to reset here most likely.
Yeah, that's going to be the full reset. MnM now stepping forward. They nestle control of Rifthold. I think that Rift Scuttler's so big for them because it's down, just causing them a lot of problems. And we are saying ENCLAVE just push it in yet another wave in the mid side. MnM are going to look just to contest and clear out some of this vision. For ENCLAVE did place aggressively into the blue side jungle, but Rifthold once again getting started up.
Yeah, and you can see now they should again. It's going to be the exact same play. MnM can walk up here, try to pressure, and I'm waiting to see the quickness. It's got to be the quickness coming in very soon.
So careful though with Hado. That's going to be the equalizer.
That's a good equalizer.
Going to pop back the jungler. Going to be able to get themselves at least the rift out, but Hado looking to go in. Interrupted by the steadfast presence. The trouble comes in. The knock up into the last breath doesn't do enough. That's going to be 2 kills for the side of MnM. Hado is bopped into the wall. A double kill for Hades.
They just got turned around on and destroyed. They thought they had the fight. You saw the knock up come through. So many things.
Done.
Oh no.
Is it good guy red buff? Not at all. Vrau has got that flash, looking to turn on the Monkeys, going to be able to get him. Red buff picked up as well.
You can see Trundle was running around. Maybe I get red buff. No, I got the kill. I get the red buff, and now we get the tower.
Aaron just could not stay alive in that fight. I need to see actually who he knocked up, so we're going to have a replay here. Watch for the knock up onto Aaron.
You can see now, Hado wants to make the engage work here and actually gets denied by Igloo. That's the first part of this play that really matters, on top of kicking out Sejuani.
Just such a good steadfast presence. That would have been the headbutt pulverize that won the fight.
Yeah, it would have definitely been a massive Yasuo ult as well. They still get a good Yasuo ult, but
yeah,
just immediately gets turned around on by the people that weren't caught in it and just isn't tanky enough to survive. That's why I expect the Sterak's coming out, but instead you're actually seeing lifesteal being built up by the Yasuo.
Yeah, I think he's just committing full for the damage. Sterak's will probably be his 3rd item. Going to get that Infinity Edge now. Just wants that Vamp Scepter for a little bit of lifesteal, a little bit of trading.
You're pushing off your Spike for a long time with this kind of mixed build, though. Could go for the BT, potentially. Yeah. That gives him the shield and gives him some of the lifesteal in the middle of this fight. Could be important for him. See now what he ends up deciding. But
he won't build it into a QSS because he's got cleanse as well, so it's not completely necessary for him. Unless he wants the double cleanse to deal with the wall bop and the sleep, or maybe the charm. There's so much he needs to cleanse.
I think considering he has to deal with Trundle Rakan, I don't see the point in trying to run double. So I think he's just going to stick with cleanse as his one way to get out.
Obviously, it does give you the reduced, increased tenacity as well. when he pops that. And Leandris is now being picked up by Rifty.
And what we talked about, Morello's is generally finished because it gives you a massive amount of AP for a small amount of gold. Rumble isn't hugely reliant on his AP ratios. He just wants the flat damage that Leandris brings out.
Jokerism hanging around with his duo. I have to admit, I'm pretty disappointed. Got Sweetheart Zaya, Samsung Galaxy Rakan.
Where's the synergy? I mean, so far they've actually had pretty good synergy, so...
No, they haven't. He's 0-2, he's wearing the wrong skin.
Okay,
big old mess up here. Looks
potential
like
engage.
Great go in. That can be shown with the quickness. Aaron's rooted up. He can't do anything. The fight, he's already deleted. The ultimate does actually come down, but the Feather Storm is massive. Bendy now trying to heal up, and he proto belts out. 3 kills to MnM.
And something we talked about previously was that Bendy has been willing to pick up these picks, has been willing to pick up some of these new meta picks, but generally he's had worse showings on him than just standard AD carries, and I don't think that's changed here. Vlad just not able to do enough damage in the center of these fights because MnM are just tearing them apart.
Rift has the equalizer. He could at least try and dissuade them off the Baron, but for now he just wants to clear out these waves. And Baron at 20 minutes is just going to be completely uncontested. MnM. I said I wanted to see them team fight in this game, and they are doing it.
Yeah, and they're going for very proactive plays too. What I like about this is Enclave had double mountain, so if they'd won one fight, it would have been a really quick turn to Baron. This way, they have to win a fight that hard just to ensure they get it, but win that fight they did, and now the gold swung really heavily in MnM's favor.
This time, Aaron does have that cleanse. He didn't have the cleanse in the last fight, so he got locked in place and just deleted out, but this time, not going to be the case for him, so... Could see a slightly different fight. His ultimates are doing a lot of damage onto Jokerism, and 2 fights in a row, he has at least landed them on that priority target.
Yeah. And I'm watching now, maybe when the Rabadons comes out, you will see a massive spike in damage from Bendy. Maybe that'll be enough for them to turn these fights, but you see, you've still got nothing more built onto Aaron. He's really struggled to pick up gold because every time they've gone forward, it's been a fight, and they have not won any of those fights.
Looks like Enclave now playing a more defensive game. They are down in gold, down in turrets, and fighting against a Baroned up MnM. And Shogun has just been the MVP for MnM in both games. Even though they lost that last game, his engages have been sick.
And I think, again, I'm looking towards Igloo, who's actually had a really good denial of engages. Just kicking out the Sedge, making sure Alistair can't get in, and just generally being in the way. Doing the frontline job that is necessary for these games to go well for MnM. See that again here. Igloo now just going to try and maintain pressure. Maybe use that Baron buff to try split up Enclave. We talked about on the desk how Enclave, all they want to do is group up. And MnM have completely blown them out of the water in that because every time they've grouped up, it's MnM who've done so much more damage.
Hado, just trying to clear out these wards. I've been able to take 1 turret for the side of MnM so far with this Baron buff, but still being a little bit slower for the moment. Igloo does need to be careful. Rifty and Aaron are there. Great steadfast presence. Once again denies. Misses the knockup, but does get the wall bang. Aaron on the chase has the knockup charge. Bendy's coming through the flash into the equalizer. Down goes Poppy, and it will be a kill for Aaron.
A lot was forced in that, but they needed to make that pick. Otherwise, they would continue to be pressured in the bot lane. They were going to lose this tower anyway. Now they can try and move up and save that top inhib. It slows down the potential Baron push, but MnM still going to try it.
There is an ultimate available on Monkeys, so keep that in mind. Also, Hado does have the Headbutt Pulverize landed, but Aaron did not have ultimate to boot. He is popped in and deleted down. The GA is going to get popped. V-Row trying to run out, and it looks like that'll be the first pill. Going over to Jokerism. Bendy still chasing for more. It's a double kill onto the Zaya. It's going to be another one for the Zoe. V-Row able to get it.
This could be game.
For more. This could be game. 23 minutes. Rift is on the run, and a pillar's there. Hado goes forward with the Pulverize. Misses out for the knockup.
That's everyone dead.
That's everybody dead. 24 minutes. It's a full AC. Inhibitor goes down, and MnM will take this game versus Enclave.
Is this the UK scene? This is a 24-minute game. They actually know how to end with a lead. Insane. MnM making this series even.
MnM definitely going even all the way here. Enclave got challenged, and at 24 minutes, MnM look revitalized, look refreshed. And they will tie this series 1 apiece.
Yeah, and for a game that's so, like, for 2 teams that are so close, these quick early games have not been what we've seen consistently coming out for these guys. I'm glad that you've now seen they're able to get a lead. They know what to do with it. They consistently pressured, and ENCLAVE just really struggled from that position.
It's a solid game coming through from MnM, and ENCLAVE looking shaky in this series, and this has been the day of upsets.
And I think a big thing there was we saw in game 1, MnM had great team fighting, but we felt like the comp didn't allow them to do that. They lost in the early game, but in this one, despite the great team fight from ENCLAVE's composition, they just never found it. There was such good CC coming in on the back of, I mean, the Trundle pillars were excellent, but the Rakan and the Zoe provided so much, and Jokerism just felt untouched for a good portion of that fight. And that's the problem, is that if you're looking for an AoE Wombo comp and you don't manage to catch either of these mobile carries, you're going to struggle.
It was the single target damage that I think really did it for me, because every time they made an engage, Yasuo's ult, effectively all it did was offer him up to all the single target damage, and you just saw that come out instantly every time he ulted. I'm not even sure he survived any ult. Again, any time he ulted in, he started Eing out and died.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think the big thing as well is Xayah was such a good pick here for Jokerism. Imagine that same game with the Varus. Lots of situations Xayah would have died, but anytime he gets engaged on by the Vlad or the Yasuo, he's able to ult away, buy some time, and then by the time he lands, normally the team fight's going in their favor.
Well, I do expect Jokerism's probably the one with the most damage in this game, so let's bring that up and see.
Must be.
It's got to be, right? Oh,
wow.
Okay.
I guess the amount of summoners that Zoe was picking up every single fight.
So that's 3 paddle stars at full range.
Potentially.
I don't made that joke already today, mate.
I'm saying it again.
I don't think he even needed long-range paddle stars. I'm not like every time a fight kicked off, there were just summoners dropping everywhere. You can also use Predator, which is
just
hilarious.
The dots.
Yeah. That Predator use bot lane was insane from Bendy.
Yeah.
When he charges it up and he goes forward, just transfusions.
That was like it. Yeah, it was a disappointing game from ENCLAVE, but MnM can feel very happy with that because they just confidently took the game. The first game, bit back and forth. MnM, this game, go 24 minutes, we're going to stomp you.
They now have first pick as well.
Yep.
So, or they now have the red side, sorry. So they can now look at maybe getting the 2 picks they want, which again, last time Xayah Rakan was offered to them, they put some priority on Kindred.
I think they definitely want it in this situation. The thing is, like, Hades on a tank, you saw him there on that Trundle. He was excellent. I don't see there's a reason you need to prioritize his Trundle, because when you have a good front line, it's clear that the carries can do a lot of work. I think on the side of ENCLAVE, though, put Bendy back on a marksman, because he really seemed out of step.
I think what I saw was they got 2 solo lane counters from, like, ENCLAVE got 2 solo lane counters. However, it just didn't matter because their bot lane lost too heavily for them to deal with it. They only ever made 1 roam down there. Everything else they did was, okay, we got Aaron a kill, we got Aaron a kill or 2. It just didn't seem to matter once team fights kicked in because Xayah and Rakan was shredding them.
Yeah, and it's so hard. If you have a composition like this where you want to layer ults on top of each other, as Xayah makes it so difficult because as soon as she pops her ult, it's like, right, we have to wait till she's down. She can reposition as well. Really tricky situation to be in, and begs the question, maybe they'll have to ban away part of the combo to stop that.
You have to ban away Rakan from Shogun. 2 games in a row, he has been consistently good on it. The only reason it didn't work so much in the first game was because the gold lead was so large, and MnM just... ENCLAVE just had a really strong composition to work around it. I don't think Aaron's Yasuo was actually the problem in that game. I just think the picks versus the Yasuo were the problem.
Oh, I think the Yasuo was quite good. I just think, yeah, exactly. It's basically every time he wanted to go in, either they didn't have enough of a front line, partly because the Trundle was given away. Instead of banning the Trundle, they banned Graves.
Yeah.
I'd heavily question that as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, the Trundle was a nuisance.
I feel like because in the situation that, imagine a team fight where you land your knock up onto the Yasuo, onto the Xayah and onto the Graves. That's just another target who you can burst down. But the Trundle, never able to burst him and provides so much single target damage on the back end. So anyone who goes in gets punished.
Well, we are tied apiece. ENCLAVE 1, MnM 1, and one more game will separate who goes through to the semi-finals. So you don't want to miss this. We'll be back after a short break. See you in a second.